Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is bouncing from this exact level of support, but is now starting to retest this crucial line on the price chart in the shorter term that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, alongside Ethereum, which has now officially confirmed a new signal in the shorter term, while XRP is now flashing a new short-term signal that we need to pay attention to, getting close to possibly confirming. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and right now the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger correction in the price of Bitcoin, or a larger bearish trend, a larger bearish market for the price of Bitcoin. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin price chart, obviously we still have a massive bearish divergence playing out on the larger timeframes, as I've been warning about every day for months now, since basically all-time highs onwards, telling you that we're most likely going to see a lack in bullish momentum and a lot of weakness, most likely bearish price action. And obviously from that point onwards, that's exactly what has played out as predicted, and at least for now is still currently active. This is still influencing the price on the larger timeframes here. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, just over the last couple of weeks or so, we have played out that shorter term bullish relief thanks to this oversold signal in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI. And the last couple of times this signal confirmed in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI was basically during the middle of the 2022 bear market, and what came next was either sideways consolidation or a bit of a bullish relief over the next few weeks or so, but not necessarily the end of the larger bearish trend. But it is worth pointing out, and I did talk about this in my last video, we have a possible bullish divergence forming right now here on the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, and potentially on different time frames as well. Obviously with, for example, right now we are forming higher lows, but if we have lower lows in the price, which for now is not confirmed, so we need to actually wait for the lower lows to confirm in the price, but if we confirm lower lows in the price in the candle closes, while the RSI, at least for now, is still obviously forming higher lows, in that situation, of course, that is a bullish divergence potentially forming, but right now not confirmed. And if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, obviously right now what is confirmed is the fact that we have just run into this exact level of support, this area of support that I've been talking about over the last few days, in between 85 to 86,000, and perfectly bounced from my exact area of support from within 85 to 86,000. And so obviously continue to expect support at this area of support that I've been talking about, and resistance at this area of resistance that I've been warning about here on the channel, still sitting in between 92,000 to 94,000. So once again, support at 85 to 86k, resistance at 92 to 94k. And so if we're looking at this perspective here on the daily time frame, we are currently within a bit of a sideways price range, as we can see, at least when we're looking at the daily time frame. It does seem to look like that, a bit of a sideways consolidation between support and resistance, at least for now. That's the situation here on the daily time frame, taking a little bit of a break from that larger bearish trend, thanks to, of course, the larger bearish signals playing out here on the weekly time frame, causing the larger bearish move. Once again, understand the difference between the different time frames. The bigger picture still not looking too good unless we start to break out above 94,000. That's when we'll start to look a bit better in terms of the larger price structure. And so once again, larger price structure still not looking too good if we're talking about a period of months, but if we're talking about a period of weeks, we're still within this shorter term sideways price range. And then if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart, we of course have this shorter term triangle pattern here, which did officially break to the downside just yesterday, as I talked about in my last video. But even though we have officially confirmed the break to the downside, technically activating this bearish price target for this triangle pattern here, which, by the way, in case you're new to the channel, in case you missed my last video, this price target is sitting at just above 77,000. So really in between 77,000 to 78,000 is the technical price target now for this break to the downside for this triangle pattern. But once again, like I said in my last video, I said right at this point when we were at just under 86,000, I said I'll not necessarily open a short position right at that specific point on the price chart right there, due to the fact that, of course, in my last video I was predicting maybe just a slight little bounce in the shorter term, which is now exactly playing out as predicted, due to the fact that we ran into this area of support, and of course we're getting close to oversold here in the 6-hour Bitcoin RSI, and potentially on smaller time frames already hit oversold in the Bitcoin RSI. And so combining the close to oversold here on the 6-hour Bitcoin RSI, along with the fact that we're running into support, obviously it was very easy to expect some sort of slight little bounce or slight little relief from all of the bearish price action. But once again, we still technically have an active bearish price target. So as we're seeing this retest here, if we fail to get back above this ascending line of previous support, which could now be acting as resistance, if we fail to get back above this line and actually complete a successful retest and a rejection like this, then this could potentially, not financial advice, but this could make for a decent entry point into a short position to trade the rest of that bearish move closer towards these bearish price targets. But right now, we're still currently in the test phase, at least as of recording this video. We've not yet actually confirmed a rejection or a breakout back above this line. We're still testing this line on the price chart, at least as of recording this video. And so now obviously it's important to understand that if the price of Bitcoin actually confirms a breakout back above this line on the price chart, which in case you're wondering is sitting at roughly 88,500. So if we start breaking out above around 88.5k, and especially confirming candle closes here on the 6-hour chart or 4-hour chart, confirming candle closes back above 88,500 and especially back above 89,000, in that situation, that will officially invalidate this break to the downside and invalidate this triangle pattern and of course this price target. And so once again, not financial advice, but a potential trading strategy that I would most likely be looking at doing myself would be to look for an entry for a short position around this point that we're testing right now. And then if we, of course, actually confirm some sort of rejection here, potentially open or add to a short position, not financial advice, and then of course have a stop loss just above the point of invalidation, so that if we actually break out back towards the upside, back above 88 to 89,000, back above this level that I just mentioned earlier, then in that situation, as I just said earlier, that would invalidate this bearish scenario and this bearish price target in the shorter term. Therefore, having a stop loss just above that point can basically take a small loss and close the trade at a small loss in order to avoid potential further losses in that worst case scenario for a short position. But right now, once again, we are seeing the bounce from this support playing out. And while this is playing out in the imminent short term, of course, this is helping to reset the RSI a little bit here on the smaller time frames, which is technically now giving us some more room towards the downside again to potentially complete more bearish price action in the coming days if we fail to get back above this line right here. So this is definitely a crucial time for the price of Bitcoin in the immediate short term. And so if you haven't done so already, this is definitely the time to get set up ready to go on a crypto exchange to potentially take advantage of this next trading opportunity for Bitcoin or any other crypto. And if you're using the first link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment, that first link below the video will take you to this page right here over on the Pinex crypto exchange, where you can take advantage of some massive bonuses that are only available using that link. For example, if you make an account using that link, complete KYC, you get a 50 USDT bonus on your account. And on top of that, if you complete deposits here, you also get deposit bonuses. For example, if you deposit as little as 100 USDT on your account using the link below the video, you get a 100 USDT bonus on your account. If you deposit 10,000, you get a 1,000 USDT bonus onto your Pinex account. This is basically free money from the exchange, which you can then go ahead to actually use to trade Bitcoin or other crypto assets over on Pinex if you want to. But remember, all of this right here is only available if you're using that first link below the video to actually make your Pinex account. Unfortunately, if you don't use that link, you can't claim any of these bonuses right here. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using that first link below the video. But if you want a no KYC crypto exchange to also place long positions, short positions on, etc., an exchange that I also use myself, then for that, check out the second link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment, because that second link below this video will take you to this page right here over on the 2bit crypto exchange, where you could also take advantage of exclusive bonuses that are only available using that link. And on top of those exclusive bonuses, for a limited time here, there's also trade protection and a recovery fund that you can basically gain access to if you're using that link below the video to make your account during this event. And so as you can see here, a new user making your account during this event using the link below the video for the first 7 days of trading on your account, you can get up to 200 USDT in trial funds from basically a loss protection. So if you're losing, let's just say 200 USDT, you can get those funds back in the form of trial funds on your account, which you can also use to trade crypto over on 2bit if you want to. And on top of that, if your account saw total liquidations over 50 USDT during this event that's running right now, then you also may be eligible for recovery compensation up to 1,000 USDT, depending on your actual liquidation. And so once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well take advantage of this using that second link below this video. And remember, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and right now, if we're talking about what's close to the price of Bitcoin in the shorter term, honestly, we don't really have any significant level to pay attention to that's relatively close to the price, but we do have some massive liquidity starting to build at pretty much exactly or very close to $70,000 per Bitcoin, as we can see. So keep that in mind. That is a potential price target, obviously at a much lower price level, but also keep in mind that between the current price and let's just say $70,000, we also have support levels along the way. Like for example, this support at 85 to 86,000, and I'd also expect some support at around 80 to 81,000, and also some support at around 76,000 to 77,000. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, right now the Bitcoin dominance is still looking quite neutral. We're still lacking bullish momentum and also lacking bearish momentum, at least in the shorter term for the Bitcoin dominance, which means a lot of the major altcoins out there on average will likely be performing very similar to whatever Bitcoin is doing, not necessarily massively outperforming or underperforming. At least right now, that is still the situation for the Bitcoin dominance. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, obviously just over the last one day, the price of ETH has now officially confirmed a daily candle close back below this point of support, which was acting as support for over a week, and that was sitting at around 3,040. So really in between 3,000 to 3.1k was the area of support that has been supporting the price for over a week, once again for almost 2 weeks here, and of course has now been officially broken with the latest daily candle close below that support. And so if we see any sort of bounce or bullish relief in the shorter term, I'll now expect resistance again in between roughly 3,000 to 3.1k, and if we get back above that level, expect more resistance at around 3,250 and some major resistance closer towards 3.4k based on that previous price target here, which we already hit obviously. And as for support, now that we have broken below 3,000, we should find some support potentially around 2.9k based on this previous candle wick low here. But the next massive support to watch out for is at just below 2.8k, really around 2750 approximately. And so basically in between 2750 to 2.8k is the next massive support to watch out for, and below that expect some major support in between 2.6k to 2650 if the price actually gets back down there. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 3-hour Ethereum price chart, we can see that just over the last one day, we've now officially confirmed an oversold signal in the 3-hour Ethereum RSI. And the last couple of times this signal confirmed in the 3-hour Ethereum RSI, we did see just a bit of a bullish relief moving forward. Now, obviously these previous examples, we saw a decent amount of bullish price action over the next few days, but this isn't always the case. Sometimes we just see maybe a bit of a sideways consolidation, maybe a very, very slight bullish move, but don't necessarily expect a massive amount of bullish momentum based on this signal alone, because that's not always the case. But basically what we should be expecting is a high probability scenario. As always, no such thing as a 100% guarantee, but it is quite likely that just in the shorter term, in the coming hours, maybe the next couple of days, expect just a bit of a break from all of the bearish price action. So maybe once again, a sideways consolidation, maybe a slight bullish move, but don't necessarily expect a massive high momentum movement towards the upside based on this alone. Just a bit of a breakaway relief from all of the bearish price action in the immediate short term is very likely. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, Solana, at least for now, is still finding support at this exact level of support at around 124. So still expect support at $124, which is the same level that I've been talking about for not just weeks, but months now on the channel, since actually all the way back here at around 124. Obviously still major support at that level, but if the price of Solana actually confirms, for example, a daily or a 2-day candle close here below 124, and especially if we fail to get back above that level, in that situation, it is quite likely we'll drop down towards around $100 to $105 as the next massive support towards the downside. And also it is worth pointing out that there's a possible bullish divergence forming right right now, but not yet confirmed. I want to make that clear. But we do have, of course, higher lows still forming here in the 2-day Solana RSI, while we have possible lower lows forming in the price in the candle closes. But this still needs to actually be confirmed. Right now, we don't have confirmed lower lows in the price in the candle closes. So once again, not a confirmed bullish divergence, but something that's possibly forming, something to at least keep an eye on in the coming days in case it potentially confirms. But at least for now, considering the price of Solana is still holding on to this support level at 124, as of right now, we're still in the same sideways price range that we've been in over the last 1 month or so. For multiple weeks now, we've just been bouncing around relatively sideways within this support and this resistance. Once again, support at around 124 and some major resistance in between around 143 to 147. And so honestly, not a lot has changed for Solana over the last 1 day. So without wasting any of your time, getting straight into the price of XRP on the weekly time frame. And right now, XRP is running into the final significant level of support on the larger time frames before potentially much lower prices. I have talked more in detail about this over the last few days, but basically the final massive area of support for XRP on the larger time frames is sitting in between around $1.80 to $2, which we are now testing as of recording this video. And if the price of XRP actually breaks to the downside, so if we start breaking below $1.80, especially with a weekly candle close below that level, and especially if we fail to get back above that area, then in that situation, we'll likely see a massive drop towards the downside over the next multiple months. Remember, if we're looking at the weekly time frame, we're talking about most likely over a period of months. This is not short-term signals here. And in case you're wondering, if we actually confirm the break below $1.80 on the weekly time frame, in that situation, I will be targeting around $1.60 as the next potential point of support. And below that, we have a major area of support in between $1.30 to $1.40 approximately. But once again, right now, we're still testing this area in between $1.80 to $2, the final major area of support before potentially those much lower prices. And technically speaking, we still have a massive bearish divergence also still active, still playing out on the weekly XRP price chart, causing a lot of weakness, lacking bullish momentum for multiple months now, as I actually warned about months ago here on the channel. And if we're taking a look at the daily XRP price chart now, this is looking at the smaller moves, the shorter term moves in the price that are much faster to play out, but play out over obviously smaller moves in the price, not long periods of time. And so as always, understand the difference between the different time frames. It is possible, for example, to play out a shorter term bullish divergence, as we saw just back here around mid-October. It is possible to play out a shorter term bullish divergence during a much larger bearish trend caused by a much larger bearish divergence on a larger time frame. And so of course, a bearish divergence playing out while a bullish divergence is playing out is not necessarily contradictory if they are on two different time frames. As I just said, we can see shorter term bullish reliefs during a larger bearish trend. And right now we do have a new shorter term bullish divergence officially formed, but not yet fully confirmed. We need to actually now confirm the higher low in place in the daily XRP RSI by confirming a bit of a bounce, confirming in place here in the RSI. So this basically means we need to see at least 1 to 2 candle closes in the price confirming in the green to actually cement the higher low in place in the RSI, considering the input data for the RSI by default goes off candle closes. And so basically we just have to wait and see over the next 1 to 2 days to potentially start confirming this new bullish divergence, but it is formed on the price chart. We're just having to wait for a little bit more confirmation here to be more confident that the bullish divergence can start playing out in the shorter term. And if this actually confirms in the coming days, then we'll likely see maybe 1 to 2 weeks worth of a shorter term bullish relief, or maybe a sideways consolidation, basically a bit of a break or a relief in the shorter term during the larger bearish trend, but not necessarily the end of the larger bearish trend. And as for support and resistance to watch out for in the shorter term, once again, we have that major area of support in between $1.80 to $2. But basically, if we see a bit of a short-term relief here, I would actually expect a lot of resistance in between $2 to $2.05, and also major resistance at closer towards around $2.15 to $2.20. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, obviously Chainlink right now has officially confirmed the break to the downside. As I already said in my last video, we confirmed the break to the downside below this line, which was acting as support over the last 1 to 2 weeks or so, and that was sitting at around $13.40 approximately. So I'll now expect resistance at that level. If we see any little bullish relief or bounce in the short term, expect resistance really in between $13.40 to $13.50. And as for support to watch out for, the next major support to watch out for will be sitting at just above $12, really in between $12 to around $12.10, give or take. So just above $12 as major support to watch out for. And we have also found a little bit of short-term support based on previous support all the way back here, which is sitting at roughly around $12.60 to $12.70 as well. And honestly, overall, the price of Chainlink will likely follow very similar price action to whatever Bitcoin and other major altcoins are doing. So for example, if Bitcoin continues to struggle here, and especially if we start rejecting from this line in the short term for Bitcoin and continue a break to the downside, in that situation, for example, we'll likely continue some shorter term bearish price action for Chainlink and a lot of altcoins. So definitely pay attention to what Bitcoin is doing to figure out what is likely going to happen for a lot of these major altcoins. But obviously, over the last one day, not a lot has changed for the price of Chainlink. But remember, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim the massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto no matter what the price is doing here, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.